doing here?
Well, it's just that after waiting a while for my phone to ring, like several days, I decided to call you.
Well, come on in.
Thank you. Shall we get to the point? Are you hiring me?
Well, Mr. Cranston, we have a policy at Capital Enterprises. We don't hire anyone without thoroughly checking out their babackground.
Well,
now, I've spent a lot of time with you, but I don't really know you.
Okay, but you know I did all right by you in Hawaii. I mean, Eden, you told me that yourself, you know? And I've given you my resume. You could easily have checked out my references.
Well, I have a lot to do, and I have a lot on my mind lately.
Okay, well, it's there when you feel that you have the time to check it out, and they're solid. So, in the meantime, don't you think I could just cash in on the fact that I'm Jack's son?
I don't mean to offend you, Mr. Cranston, but everyone knows that Jack has never been married, and he's never said anything about having a son. Now, if you were me, wouldn't that puzzle you a little bit?
Do you have a minute so I can bare my soul to you? No, really, I think you might find it worth listening to. So you see, I mean, it was a long time before my dad ever acknowledged me or could even accept responsibility for me. I mean, look, he had a casual affair when he was a teenager, right? He wasn't ready to accept the consequences of his indiscretions, namely me.
How did you finally work your way into his life?
Well, I think his guilty conscience got me the job. You know, I was about 15 and he suddenly showed up and introduced himself.
Must have been a shock.
Yeah, it was. My mom was having it so rough then. I mean, constantly was getting into scrapes. I wasn't doing, all that well in school. And just having him turn up like that, I mean, that didn't help matters at all at first. Not for a long time, in fact.
And now?
We met off and on pretty regularly back then. He showed me how I was screwing up my life. I'll give him that. And he paid my way through Harvard. And 5 years ago, he asked me to take his last name, and I said, no.
I guess that answers my question.
Yeah, so I'm related to him. And, he's a great connection. But I'm not really related, if you follow me.
I think I do.
Well, do I have a job with Capwell Enterprises, please?
I'll tell you what, I'll check your references. And as long as there aren't any more family members and friends and relatives, I'll think about it.
In that case, I think you better scratch the first two names off the top of this list I gave you.
Kirk, it's Eden Capwell.
Yes, I'd have recognized your voice.
I've come to a decision.
Favorable?
Well, I'm temporizing. I decided to hire you on a day-to-day basis. No guarantees for the future. I think it'll all depend on your performance.
Well, I've never had any complaints about my performance yet, not in any department. Sales, service, contract.
Look, I'm going to ask you to report to either here or the office every day. I very often work at home when my father is ill.
Yeah, I understand.
I'll see that you're assigned to a regular office at Capital Enterprises, and you'll share a secretary with some of the other junior executives.
Junior, I see.
Does that bother you?
No, not a bit. I take it you checked out my references.
I talked to your father.
I thought you said you weren't going to accept any comments from relatives.
Well, Jack is a little different. We all know him, and we trust him. Besides, I checked your business references, and they were all in order.
Great.
Now, do you have housing, say, for you and your family in Santa Barbara?
Well, I don't have a family, and the fact is I'll probably just find a nice little bachelor pad somewhere around. So don't worry about that. More importantly, when do I show up?
How about tomorrow morning at 9?
All right. 9 is fine. Tell me, what's your favorite flower?
Why?
Nothing. I just want to send some to say thank you.
I like those little blue ones, the ones that are on top of Mount Everest.
Aha. Well, in that case, maybe I should send you my favorite flower, because you see, it just grows right around the corner at the florist.
Kirk, look, you don't need to send me any flowers.
No, I know. But I want to. Anyway, in the meanwhile, I guess just a simple thanks will have to suffice, boss. Well, that takes care of round 1.